Our second speaker is Mr. Russell Gordon, a Master of Science degree candidate. Mr. Gordon was born in Ontario, Canada, and moved to the United States at a young age. As a first-generation American, he learned much from watching his parents' work ethic and determination to realize the American dream. Growing up in Southern California, Russ attended California State University at Long Beach, where he received his undergraduate degree in applied psychology with a minor in human resources. After moving to Colorado Springs in 1996, Russ continued his work as a business consultant and began pursuing his master's degree. Mr. Gordon and his wife and 4 children have served with various charities throughout the years, including the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the Colorado Springs Down Syndrome Association, the American Cancer Society, and others, as well as serving as leadership in his local church. Mr. Russell Gordon.
Father President, honored members of the Regis faculty and administration, fellow graduates and guests, good afternoon. Today is a wonderful day for all of you, and I want to begin by saying thank you for indulging me and listening to a few thoughts I've been asked to share. I have a question for you. When was the last time you thought about your legacy? For those of you who are younger, the idea of reflecting on what you will leave behind may seem a bit premature. You may be tempted to wait until you get your first pair of reading glasses, or some kid calls you old, which, by the way, will happen very soon. In the few minutes I have today, I'd like to encourage you not to wait, but to start thinking today about what you will leave behind. I found that the older I get, the more I realize how quickly time passes. Several weeks ago, I attended a memorial service for John Napier, a man I've known and respected for a decade. I've been to a few such services, but never one that lasted over 2.5 hours. As I listened, more than a dozen family members and friends shared with passion the impact that this man's life had on them. John served in World War II, hung steel on the New York City skyline, shared movie roles with men like Cary Grant and Gene Hackman, and later became a corporate executive. You might assume that John's career is what impacted all those people. However, you'd be surprised to know that those accomplishments were not his primary legacy. You see, John's real legacy began after a personal encounter with God when he was nearly 50. Halfway through his life, he came to the realization that there was an emptiness inside him that nothing thus far had satisfied. Transformed by this experience, he spent the rest of his life giving himself away to those around him. As family and friends shared John's impact in their world, it reminded me that this had been a life of great purpose, wisdom, and wit. I can still hear John saying things like, "Good judgment comes from experience. Experience generally comes from bad judgment." The tears and even the laughter expressed that day conveyed the power and the impact of John's existence and resounded in my spirit as well. His life had also touched me in many ways. Last month, I also attended a very different event in Colorado Springs entitled Wait No More. Hundreds of people there were sharing a vision. That vision was to find permanent, loving homes for the 700 children currently in the Colorado foster care system. The remarkable thing about this project is the unprecedented level of cooperation between so many diverse organizations and agencies. Never before in our state, and perhaps never before in the country, has there been this kind of coordinated effort to help the most needy and helpless among us. A life like John Napier's and an undertaking like the Wait No More project illustrate for me tried and tested values and beg the question, how then shall we live? Have you been called to lead an organization, to to explore the questions of art, science, or technology, or to help others fulfill their calling through teaching or in a helping profession. Whatever your calling, remember that it's not enough to pursue just personal or material success. Those achievements yearn for external focus, lest they be quickly forgotten. Do you think that it's possible, having experienced great abundance, that we could slip into selfishness and complacency? I do, and I believe it will take vigilance and deliberate intention to prevent this course. We are a young nation, and the potential for greatness is still ahead of us. But the direction we take corporately has much to do with the path each of us chooses individually. The time has come once again to nurture our spiritual faith into great courage and choose not to follow, but instead choose to lead. If you and I will settle the fundamental question of how to live today, carefully consider our legacy, and strive towards moral excellence, we will leave this world a better place than when we arrived. As I'm aware of the time, I remember something else John used to say when counseling married couples. With a twinkle in his eye, he'd look at them and he'd say, "Never miss a good opportunity to shut up." Thank you for your time and congratulations on this momentous occasion.